Hey cyberpunks and retro nerds, Tommy the Hammer here coming at you after taking a small hiatus. I've been a little under the weather lately, and I happen to work on a college campus, and I see hundreds of college students every single day. Those motherfuckers are like bacteria bombs. If you handle one of their textbooks, then it's over with. Y'all getting sick. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I love talking about movies, as you guys know. Today we're going to be discussing a movie that I'm not really all that familiar with. It is the early 1960s Hammer version of The Phantom of the Opera. This one, I'm not too familiar with. So when I saw it in the store, I said to myself, I got to pick that up, I got to do a quick review, and I got to let everyone know what my feelings of this early 1960s version are. So while I do that, you guys are going to check out the trailer, and when we get back, we're going to be discussing The Phantom of the Opera.
Come if you dare within these walls. On stage is color, beauty, and light. But in the shadows lurks a monstrous evil.
Young woman, you must come with me.
Terror haunts these dusty corridors. Murder waits its call in the dressing rooms. And on cue, death makes his entrance.
Guys, I had read online that some critics of this version of The Phantom of the Opera felt that the portrayal of the Phantom was kind of done as like an anti-hero of sorts, a kind of a tragic character, if you will. I don't know if I'd go that far. In my opinion, the Phantom in this movie is kind of a bastard. This version of the Phantom is, a lot more ghastly, and I think that comes from, during the era of the Hammer horror films, these were predominantly filmed in color, so a lot of the portrayal of the Phantom's disfigurement is kind of shown in full, gory, bloody detail. I personally loved the makeup special effects on him. I loved the mask that they gave him to wear. And I do believe, in my opinion, that the Phantom should be slightly tragic. It kind of reflects the overall mood of an opera horror movie. And one other thing that I've always liked about the Phantom of the Opera story and the films is that they vaguely feel a little giallo to me. And in order to create true intrigue and, draw the audience in, you're going to need the mystery element. You're going to need tragic characters, even if they are villains like the Phantom. I also feel like some of the best horror movies are the ones that make audiences feel a multitude of emotions while you watch them. It's not just pure horror or keeping things, gritty and dark and mean. Sometimes it means making the audience laugh. Or sometimes it means making the audience cry. And sometimes it even means making the audience feel something a little more warm within themselves when they watch these movies. A truly great horror film paints with all these different colors. And, if anyone wants to voice complaints about this movie, about the character being, too much of a tragic, sorrowful version of the Phantom, I would have to disagree. I feel like the Phantom's characterization in this movie is balanced perfectly. Out of 10 stars, I think I gotta give this one about a 6.5. It's not my favorite Hammer horror film, and it's not certainly my favorite interpretation of the Phantom, but it's a damn good movie.